Hi, I am back. I have been on a recording roll and just trying to commit to recording and commit to myself. So it's been fun, and I'm so grateful that, people are watching and liking the videos. So if you haven't yet, please support by subscribing and doing that. If you also have been touched by these videos, there is a link to support my ministry. I'm currently studying the Bible, and I would just so appreciate your support. I'm really invested in this, and I believe in this because I want to help other people live thriving lives, heal from any disease that they may encounter, and just live in the fullness of life that they're called to. And so I am just so grateful for even your time today to tune in and to listen. I pray that this message reaches you and speaks directly to whatever you need today. I am praying for every person who's going to see this video, praying for you to just have an amazing day, to be filled with joy and kindness and goodness, generosity, and fruitfulness. And so I am just really excited to be able to hit record. I think that for so long I have been kind of in this cocoon, and I am starting to break through this cocoon. I feel like being in seminary, I really wanted to learn about how I can approach things and conversations in the best way, especially when it comes to sensitive topics like the one that I'm going to talk about today. And I think that this is something that is affecting so many women out there. And so and men actually as well. And so I wanted to really speak to this. And so this is going to be the trigger warning right now in case, you need to maybe turn this off or move to another area, so that there can be space for you to take in this message that has a bit of a sensitive topic, but that I hope is a message of healing and of encouragement to anyone who needs it today. So, one thing that I'm going to talk about is the way that as a society we are being torn apart by SA. And I think that this is something that really revealed itself to me when I was in law school working for the SATC. And that treatment center was was a place where they provided direct survivor services, but also where I was doing policy research. And so I really got to study a lot of data and as well as theory on how we can better approach things like SA and SH, or like harassment. And I made a video about how this is something that even the most successful women are having to deal with, and that that we can kind of create the systems to not necessarily avoid, but I do think that being able to protect ourselves from environments that have proved to be dangerous or have proved to be toxic towards women or for women is something that we should consider as a society. I think that more and more we are seeing a shift of women wanting to actually leave the workforce, or to at the very least create their own line of work or their own business. And I think that a lot of this honestly has to do with the environment that women face regularly in the workforce. And I think that something that we have to consider is that although human resources and HR is in some ways there to be a resource to us and to protect us, ultimately they are serving the business interests of the company. And anytime there is some sort of claim of wrongdoing or harassment or assault, this is going to be a liability for the company. And so I think a lot of times women are really discouraged by the fact that when they go to HR, whether it's at a business or at a college or school or university, or they go to this authority figure that's supposed to help them, yet they find themselves almost being betrayed by that very figure, because their interests are just simply not aligned. And I think that it's so important for us to remember that the Lord is the one who fights our battles. And it can be really easy to get upset, get frustrated, feel betrayed, or feel let down by God. And I just want to encourage you in the Lord, because God is so amazing. And if we think about the humiliation and the pain that the Lord went through on the cross for us, what we're really facing pales in comparison. And that's not to minimize what we're going through, but it is something that is like almost like a reoccurring thing in this world. And so I think that being able, though, to protect ourselves or our children, or the women in our lives from, or girls in our lives from being in these harmful environments is really a choice that we are able to make. And I mean, even for me right now, I don't know if I would ever, give my daughter access to like social media, or if I would want her to even like go to school, just because of what is happening. I think that's why you're seeing a huge move towards homeschool, but also, I mean, for many other reasons. But I think that the safety of our girls is something that it needs to be considered. One thing that one of my friends mentioned is that a lot of schools now have CCTV everywhere. And this is something that I think is like a systemic change that we can easily implement in schools everywhere in order to protect our students. We can, ensure that we are providing them with the most secure environment. I mean, if you're in a hotel, even 10 years ago, the entire thing is going to be on CCTV once you leave your room, for safety reasons. I mean, of course, there may be conflicting interests when it comes to who holds the surveillance footage, but I think that ultimately it is a major deterrent when it comes to any sort of crimes being committed against our girls. And so I am just really hopeful about the ways that we can further implement safety measures and precautions, but also to really heal the underlying wound that's like causing this separation and this sin, really. And I think that what a lot of us are not talking about or recognizing is that many male perpetrators of SA against women were actually victims of SA either in childhood or in boy or manhood. And so I think that this is something that we can continue to consider as we step into a place of healing and creating true like love and community. And I think that when it comes to creating workspaces that women can thrive in, we are really needing to reevaluate the role that women play and the value that we place on their inherent roles. And so I think that I have been so blessed to have many opportunities, but I think that so many women out there are really unable to make a lot of choices for themselves because of the limitations that they face financially or educationally or in their careers. And I myself have faced struggles and obstacles and limitations that have, you know, sometimes made me want to fold. And so I really just pray for anyone who needs that like encouragement right now to hold on. And even if, and I don't know, but I feel like someone out there needs the encouragement to like leave a toxic work situation where maybe you're being harassed or someone is just making like really inappropriate comments to you. Maybe they even touched you inappropriately. But I am praying for your healing. I'm praying for your protection. I'm praying for your peace and that you allow the Lord to fight all of your battles for you. And I'm praying for you to allow the Lord to um, encourage you and to strengthen you and to give you the boldness to step out, and whether it's to go into business on your own and create your own work culture and your own work environment that is a positive place. I believe that, yeah, the Lord is calling you into more. And so if there's, um, any sort of obstacle that or hesitation that is presenting itself, I pray for you to give that to God and to see the fullness of what He is calling you into, because I don't think that anyone is meant to stay in a toxic situation, whether it's a work environment or a living environment or a relationship or friendship. So I think that this is something that I myself am like learning and speaking to myself and preaching to myself. And so, yeah, I hope that this message, though, also speaks to you and anything that you need today. So I want to just pray that you feel the presence of the Lord in your life, that you feel His direction, His nudges, and anytime you hear His call, that you obey immediately. I pray for us to have obedient hearts that are oriented towards the Lord and His righteous way. So, thanks so much for tuning in. See you next time.